Well, good morning, everyone. It's a beautiful Monday morning, November 22nd, 2021. We'll just have 2 days, today and tomorrow, of Zoom trainings this week because of the Thanksgiving holiday. Today, we have really a treat for us that we're going to spend just the next 10 or 15 minutes going through, and we affectionately call it the George model. Now, each of you, we see developing your own processes and techniques of generating and handling leads. And so what we want to start to do is highlighting some of the best practices that we've seen. So online here we have April, and April has a much different approach than George. I don't remember if April's producing more volume or not than George, but if April's model is working, she's generating 8 or more clients per month as a white label partner. Why would April want to change it? But some of you may not be hitting your numbers and you're interested in seeing what other people are doing. So today we're going to go through the George model. And if all is well, the page is shared with you. So what he's figured out is a simple and predictable model for generating clients. And certainly, again, not suggesting that you should abandon what you're doing that's already working, but just so you can see how some of the other folks are approaching it. All right, so George is keeping it simple. He doesn't want to spend any money to buy leads. He does not pay any money for leads. He gets all of his off of Data Axle. We've highlighted that. We've trained you on that. If not, you can go to Data Axle. We don't have any financial interest in Data Axle. But off of Data Axle, you can look at new businesses or existing businesses, and you can apply different filters. He really likes home-based businesses. He likes bad credit business owners, and also likes businesses in his area. But again, you can play with those filters and select what you want. We're just going through the George model right now. So what George wants to do is generate interest. He knows that Data Axle does not provide email addresses, and that's technically not true. I think you can spend money and get email addresses, but George doesn't want to spend any money on leads, so he doesn't get email addresses, but he doesn't care because George doesn't really believe in email marketing. He knows that texting is much more effective, and you do get phone numbers for free from Data Axle. He likes to send 3 texts, 1 text a day for 3 consecutive days. Again, you may have a different way. You may have a better way. You may have better content. If what you're doing is making adult money, you're keeping compliant with 8 or more a month, you probably don't want to change it. But for George, his first text is specifically this. Hi, and he types in whatever the person's name is. Hi, Augustus. Hi, Ben. Hi, Bernard. Hi, Charles. Hi, Doug. Jeremy, whatever the person's name is. This is George he inserts his company name. It looks like you may have some great funding options. Are you available for a quick call? So short and brief, trying to get a phone conversation with the prospect. But he's wanting the prospect to respond back. So could George just call all these people? He could, but that's a bit exhausting. And also he wants to have the prospect show interest. So now George is in control of the conversation versus a telemarketer. Day 2 text is hi, and inserts the name. I haven't heard back from you yet about the guaranteed $100,000 or more of business funding. Can we help you get money for your business? And then day 3, if he still hasn't heard from him, hi, insert name. I've been trying to reach you about a small business funding program with no minimum credit scores or time in business. Do you have a minute to visit? So I'm going to pause there. What questions or comments do any of you have about George's 3-day text campaign? Is this similar to what you're doing? Zahn, Wayne, Spencer, Renee, Pauline, Mark, Marcelo, Jahan, and others. Is this similar? Is this different? What's your feedback? Because so far we've talked about where George gets his leads for free. And now we've talked about how he reaches out to them. So I want to pause for a moment. I want feedback from each of you. April, you're one of our big hitters. Is this similar to how you're reaching out to your prospects, April? April Johnson, can each of you respond back into the Q&A, which is like chat of Zoom? Very interested. Ben, you're having a lot of success, having a big month. Are you using text campaigns like what George is doing, Ben, or are you doing it differently? Renee, you've generated over 1,000 leads, I believe, this month alone, in the month of November. Is this similar, Renee, to what you're doing, or is it different? So looking for feedback from each of you on that. Okay, and Marcelo mentioned he's working with Scott, and I'll get to Scott in a second, getting things set up, and that can certainly be the case. And so Jeremy's using social media, which is fine, but Jeremy, you don't want to just generate the lead. You've got to engage the lead. And that's where I see some of you coming up short. Some of you are really good about generating leads. So you're not using data Axle. You have different ways, better ways. But I'm curious how you're engaging the leads, because we don't just need leads. We need a way to be able to move them from a lead to a prospect, and then from a prospect to a client. Okay, so I appreciate your feedback. I was just curious if this is similar or different. And again, this is George's model. You should be using your model. Your model, I'm sure, will be better. Okay, so now what you can see is George knows where to get leads, pretty much an infinite number of leads. You know exactly how George is reaching out to them. He's using texting over a 3-day period. His goal is not to sell them something. His goal is to get a phone call. Now, some of you don't want to talk to your prospects, but in general, people will have more trust and more confidence. They're more likely to convert, become a client, if they know you're real and that the program is real. So now we're going to move on to his phone consultation outline. So he always likes to use their name. Hello, April. May I ask you 3 quick questions to see if you qualify for a grant subsidized funding program providing a minimum of $100,000 to start or grow a small business? So he's taking control of the phone conversation, but asking them a question and looking for a yes. And then hopefully they say yes. We'll just scroll it on up. And so then he would say, okay, well, great. First, let me ask you, April, how much capital are you looking for? And so then he's quiet. He's waiting for her to respond with a dollar amount. And with that dollar amount, then if it's more than 100,000, we're ready to progress. If it's less than 100,000, then he needs to see if there's an opportunity to help them or not. We have a client who's received first tranche financing. I think it was $44,000, if I recall. And he had followed back up with this weekend. Oh, okay, I'm done. I'm good. Thanks. It's like, well, no. The way our model's set up, we're working with clients, working with them to raise at least $100,000. Sometimes they may say, no, I only need 20,000. So what you do is just engage in a conversation. Oh, okay, April, you're only needing 20,000. Can you tell me what you'd be using that for? Marketing, payroll, paying off current debt, what have you. Well, April, our program is set up to guarantee a minimum of $100,000 capital raise. But if you were to start to think about if you had enough working capital in your business bank account to cover 6 months of expenses, just in case there's another pandemic or a downturn, how much would you need to have 6 months of working capital on hand? And so then April does her calculation, or the prospect does a calculation, and maybe now we're up to 100,000. If not, you could say, well, a lot of our clients like to have a company vehicle in the company's name, so it's fully tax deductible. They could wrap it or not wrap it for marketing. With the IRS Section 179 tax accelerated depreciation, that allows you to actually get money back for buying that vehicle. And so usually with just a little bit of a consultation, you can get them up to at least 100,000, because that's what we need to do. Our program is based around at least 100,000. Most people we'll be looking for more than 100, so it's pretty easy. So then he moves to question number 2, because he's going to keep it at 3 questions, right? That's what he promised to do, is 3 quick questions. So he's not going to ask 4 questions or 5 questions. He's going to keep it moving along. Okay, great. I just want to confirm, are you a U.S. citizen, and will your business be based, or is it already based in the United States? And so if yes, then we progress. Really what we're trying to do is get to this bullet here. We want to get them to our landing page. So he would say, well, it looks like you're a great fit. Let me text you a simple, should be simple, not simply, a simple application link, and I'm going to walk you through a fast and easy application. So then he's going to text them. He already knows their mobile number. That's how he's probably talking to them now, and that's how he sent out the text earlier. And he's going to send them the link to his landing page. If you don't have a landing page, then, well, you either need to get one or not follow this specific next step. But most of you have landing pages, or many of you are working with our Chief Marketing Officer, Scott, to get one set up. So I'm just explaining the George model. Again, you've probably got a better model. It's probably generating better results. So we'll keep doing it your way, but this is the George model. So then on the landing page, and this is the way that Scott likes to set them up, it's split where the first page, in other words, what the visitor to his landing page first is asked to provide is only 3 things. Keep it simple: name, phone, email. Well, frankly, George already knows their name and their phone number, right? But he doesn't know their email. So this is a nice little way to get it. But then the way that the landing page is set up is once the person puts in their phone, name, phone, and email, then it takes them automatically to the next page. And the next page is the online terms and conditions. He walks them through that, and bam, he's got a client. So, will everyone respond to the texts? Obviously not. Will everyone agree to have a quick phone call? Obviously not. But if you get them on the phone, you've got about a 90% chance of converting them. So the conversion ratio is very high once you get them on the phone. And what you're trying to do is get them over here to complete these 2 steps on your landing page. All right, and so then once they've completed that, then he wants to explain to them what's next. And so he would say, well, great, April, we're going to get you a 1-page application for your first tranche financing. That's like your first round of funding. It's often 10 to 40,000. It funds very quickly. And then we'll work with you on building your lender compliant loan package for the larger capital raise. Hopefully George is taking notes. And so George remembers how much she's asking for, he or she's asking for total. If it was just 100,000, then he would refer to that. But if the prospect said, no, I need 228,000, then he's got that written down so he can create a clear picture. Okay, well, great. We'll get you your first 10 to 40,000 funded quickly. Could be more, could be less for the first tranche financing. But regardless, what we'll do then is work on your lender compliant loan package for that 228,000 that you're looking for. You see the point. So it shows that he's listening, and it shows you're painting a picture of how you're helping the client get from where they're at to where they want to be. And then just clarifies, okay, this 1-page application is going to come to you in an email from Adobe, so please look out for it and complete quickly, because we want to get you funded while the funds remain. Once you do complete that, your first round of funding is normally just a few days away for the first tranche financing. Okay, so let me make that a little bit smaller. And so now we're going to spend the next few minutes getting feedback from you, and then we're going to wrap this up in about 5 minutes. We want to start having shorter, more concise trainings that hopefully you can go take and implement or dismiss if you've got a better model. So who has questions, comments, concerns on the George model? Okay, so I see, so there's questions about texting, and I don't know what texting software that George uses. To start with, you can just text right off of your phone. You could get an account with the Ring Central. Go to ringcentral.com. That would give you a phone number to use for your business, so no one knows your personal number, and that allows you to text also from that number. So Ring Central is a really good fit. And then there's also some blast texting software that you can subscribe to. It's next to nothing, but it's a small expense, and it would allow you to text the same message to a bunch of people with merges. And I don't know, I'd have to ask what he's using. I think when he got started, he was just, frankly, just texting off of his cell phone because he was operating off of a thin budget. When George started, he was worried about paying his mortgage. You know, he was in financial trouble. All right, so let's see what other questions, but Renee was asking about which texting service George uses. In the beginning, it was just a cell phone. I think he's using Ring Central now, but I'm not sure. And again, Ring Central will give you a number, an interface, and then whether it be on a PC or a handheld device or even a smartphone, you can call from there and you can text from there. Pauline says she's going to try this technique with her leads. Okay, great. Jahan says he's still trying to figure out how to get leads. Well, we've got really good training that we've had, and they're posted up on the white label page that'll show you some examples of where leads can come from. But the Data Axle is a pretty convenient way. And Data Axle, you can get a free demo account with. Most libraries through the business reference section of your public library will have a subscription. This used to be called Reference USA and or Sales Genie. So a lot of you are going through your libraries to get this, so you have ongoing access for free. Anyone can get initial access for free. And Pauline mentioned, yeah, that's true. When you work with Scott, he can set up texting that actually goes right out from your setup with him, your landing page and your CRM. So that is a good point as well. So there's a few options on how to get the text out, but Pauline's right. If you have set up a landing page, and so then you can actually automate, Scott can help you automate these. So these go out automatically every day for 3 days. So it doesn't require any additional effort from you. So that's a great point, Pauline. So just get with Scott. He can help you get the automation set up. Okay, so who has any questions on what we've covered today? Our goal today was to remind you, no Zoom training Wednesday, Thursday, Friday because of the holiday break, Thanksgiving break. Second was to learn the George model and how he just very simply gets his leads off Data Axle. He has a 3-stage text campaign. His goal is to get him on the phone. We've shared with you his scripting. We've talked about having a landing page is helpful, not required, but helpful. And if you don't have one, Scott can help you get that. Just email him at scott@smartmoneyalliance.org. And then the scripting after the client has agreed to the terms and conditions so they know what's going to happen next. Does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns? Because there are so many entrepreneurs that want to need capital to start and grow a business that there's no reason that we can't all be helping one new client a day. Ideally, that's what we'd love to see happen. If we could all help one new client a day, 30 a month. Some of you are much above that. Some of you are below that. We know as a white label partner, we've promised to work together to help at least 8 a month to a week on average. But with the George model alone, you can well exceed the 1 a day. So when we start talking about just getting 8 a month, it's really a no-brainer if you're active at all. Okay, any other questions, comments, concerns that anyone has? All right, well, we're going to keep this training short and brief. If you have follow-up questions, let us know. We'll see you back tomorrow morning, and we'll get after it again. Have a great day. Talk to you soon.